Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. So last night update 16.5 hit, and after our live stream and not a lot of sleep, we're going to take a look at the brand new bow to add to the collection, the Daikyu. Now, the bows are something in the game that we're not exactly short on right now, with there being already 5. This now makes it 6. So is this bow actually anything special, or is it just more of the same? Well, with a base damage of 350, it's by far the highest of any of the bows, with the majority 210 coming in the form of puncture, and then 70 in each of impact and slash. And quite frankly, that's where the similarities with the other bows end. The critical chance is just 15%, with a 200% critical damage multiplier, which quite frankly isn't worth modding for. It's completely the opposite from the other bows. What makes this so different from those other bows is the massive 45% status chance, which allows for 100% status fairly easily. This, however, leads on to other issues I am going to talk about a little bit later. Also, when you take into account the way the charge mechanic works on this weapon, the arrow flies pretty much straight and true every single time, with very little arc whatsoever, meaning that really accurate shots are something you can pull off time and time again. But the thing is, it does come with a few issues. Firstly is the charge time of the bow. It's insanely long, by far the longest out of all of the bows, and in fact through using it I feel that it requires actually 2 fire rate mods to compensate for that insanely long charge time. And even then it doesn't even compare vaguely to the other bows. Not only that, but the mechanics of the charge, while allowing for the arrow to go pretty much dead straight every time, means that you literally cannot fire the arrow early. It either fires at full charge or not at all. So with that long charge time and the inability to quick fire it, it can feel incredibly slow and very clunky to use. Now, the one thing I've not been able to find out so far is the actual build cost for the Daikyu, purely because it is a clan dojo tech weapon. This probably means it's going to require a former in the building of it, and I would not be surprised to see another bow included in the recipe somewhere along the line, as part of the weapon upgrade system that DE seems to be doing at the moment. The only consolation for that is that unlike most dojo weapons, it does come with a V polarity, so at least it's not all bad. Okay, so moving on to modding the Daikyu. Now, as I said earlier, it does come with a V polarity, however we're going to add 5 former, which is going to be 2 Vs and 3 dashes. Now, I do actually have 2 builds for the Daikyu. We've got this one with heavy caliber, which is basically serration, split chamber, heavy caliber, vial acceleration and speed trigger, because I feel both are needed, and then the 3 elementals. We'll go radiation and toxin for the Grineer, magnetic and poison for the corpus, and for the void we'll go with corrosive and heat. If you're doing corrosive projection, obviously it's going to be viral and heat. Now, I do have a second build, because the thing is, I feel heavy caliber really hits this very, very, very hard, and the accuracy loss really is noticeable. You could put a 100% damage increase heavy caliber on here, and it would still be worth it. At the you wouldn't get quite so much of the accuracy loss, and that would definitely be worth it. Unfortunately, I don't have a 100% heavy caliber at the moment. It's something I do need to work on. However, my other build, which is my sort of lower level build, my sort of more fun sort of solo build more than anything else. So, serration, split chamber, we've got speed trigger and vial acceleration, and the rest is just a combination of elementals. So for Grineer, we're just going to go radiation viral. For corpus, we're still going to go with the magnetic and the toxin. We'll probably use one of the dual stat mods in there, which will further boost the actual status of the weapon. So with the corpus, we'll probably just do something like this. Then you get 91% status still with the weapon, but you also get very, very nice elemental damage. And this works very, very nicely, provided you're not thinking of going very high level. If you're thinking of going quite a long way into T4 survival, that sort of thing, probably this build isn't going to be enough for you, and you'd want to go with the heavy caliber build. If you're at extreme short range, the max heavy caliber will work, but you will notice that accuracy loss. Absolutely will. Either of these builds are fine. Definitely personal preference, which one you want to go for. Obviously, heavy caliber is going to provide more damage, but if you want the accuracy, then this build is just as good. So on to my recommendation. Do I think it's worth the time, effort and resources into maxing it? And I really can't make up my mind on that point, in all honesty. The Daikyu is a fun weapon to use, but I just don't get how it fits into the whole scheme of things. When you compare it to some of the other bows like the Paris Prime or the Dread, it's nowhere near their level whatsoever. It's not even in the same postcode. However, I wonder if I'm being a bit hard on it, because when you compare it to something like the Paris or the Cernos, the Daikyu is actually extremely good, and it is definitely competing and beating the other non-prime, non-special weapons. I really want to like this bow. It looks pretty cool. It's based off a traditional Japanese asymmetric bow, and that really resonates with me. I love weapons that draw on traditional ideas. But the problem is, as I said, I don't know how it fits into the game. Warframe is a fast-paced game with groups of 10 with automatic weapons, Bolter Primes, Soma Primes, Grakatas, Prismagorgons, and pretty much anything really that fires fast. And in that sort of world, a bow that takes a long time to draw to be able to get accuracy, it might reflect on traditional archery techniques, but all it means in game is that every time you try to kill something, your teammates have already killed it by the time you lose your ammo. The lack of ability to release the arrow early really kills this for me, which is a huge shame because I love the way it looks. I kind of like the way it plays, and in solo play it's actually great fun to use. However, in the fast-paced environment of Warframe, where the other bows can do serious damage even when not fully charged, the Daikyu just gets blasted over and can be incredibly frustrating to play. Now I know people are going to ask that why with a 45% base status, which means you can get 100% status chance, have I not put any dual stats on there in the modding? Quite frankly, it's because I don't think status belongs on a bow at all. Bows are there to do a lot of damage to a single target, much like sniper rifles, with a chance of hitting additional targets with that punch through. And a bow with a massively long charge time, like the Daikyu that fires just one shot at a time, is seriously not a weapon to be spreading status procs around with. It's just not what it's designed to do. Fast firing weapons like the Grakata or shotguns like the Boar Prime or the Strun Wraith, fair enough, they can deal with that status spreading. But a bow? Really? I mean, I'm not saying that the 100% status build is bad, I'm really not. But I just think it's trying to force a stat to work on a weapon that it really just doesn't belong on. At the end of the day, I really wanted to like the Daikyu. I really did. And in a solo game, when it's just me going for the kills, taking the time to line up the shot makes sense to me. And it's actually pretty good and pretty fun to use. But in the fast pace, everything dies in an instant gameplay of Warframe, the charge time just absolutely kills it for me right now. It's just far too slow, and it is a huge shame because I think this bow does show some real promise. As always guys, many thanks for watching. Please remember to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton, and I shall see you in the next episode.